Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lessons of the Masters. Tonight we're going to continue off where I left off last night. We're going to review, learn a weapon, get a little more in depth in our stances and various things. But we're going to start out tonight with something from our sponsor. I have to introduce you to somebody. I got to be nice. So let me introduce you to my little buddy here. This here, come over here, darling. This is Loba. And Loba loves almonds, you know? And Loba's going to show you how she eats her almonds. Loba, take 1 second. Now, the almond is in the mouth. Get the almond. Loba, get the almond. Well, you can have that one. Dropped it. Okay. That's a freebie. You come here. Come here. Here. Takes it right out every time. She never misses. If she misses, I don't have a lip, and then we don't have a show. So come on. Here. Here's another one. You ready? Go a little easier this time, kid. Dental work is, I don't even know dental work. Take the almond. Takes it right out of the mouth. Never misses. This dog should play for the Yankees. Watch it again. One more time. Here. Here's the almond. Here's the almond. Here's the almond. Okay? Okay, well, wait a second. Hey, don't ruin the act, huh? Okay, take it out of the mouth. Takes it right out of the mouth. What do you say? Okay, Loba, get out of the way. Let me teach my class. I love that dog. I love that dog. Okay, so let's get back into what we were into. The other night, we went over a jab. We went over a reverse punch. We went over a down block. Okay? We discussed a little bit about stance, the foundation. We discussed movement of the mid. Okay? We discussed a little mind over rapport between mind and body reaction. We discussed distance, how close we let a guy get to us before we have to move. You know? Get out of the way or move. Okay. Let's start out with the jab, and let's get into a little bit more of the knuckles. Now, there was another part of the hand that I love. It's called the heel palm. All right, it's right here where you hit like this. A lot of people go right to the face with it. You know, right like this. Instead of smacking somebody, you hit them with the heel palm. I personally think, because of the physiognomy and the shape of the face, when you go with the two knuckles, there's too much of a skid factor. Knuckles, which are very powerful, believe me, this is like when you hit somebody with a when you hit somebody with a reverse punch, it's like you're hitting them with a 2x4. Now, when you learn to move from your mid, so you're actually firing a weapon, and those two bones are structured by this, that's a lot of power there. The problem is, if there's any bending in the wrist, you can break your wrist. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be to the point where these two knuckles are backed up by these bones. This is a little bit of geometry. Well, okay? And now, the geometry part is, what's the shortest distance between 2 points? A straight line. So this reverse punch is going to be moving this much distance with a tremendous amount of force. So imagine a 2x4 hitting, like as if something was shooting out a 2x4. That's what the reverse punch is going to try to be. But the human, it's body, it's tissue. It's not meant to take a strike like this, because the punch, when thrown at a high speed, doesn't just stop on the tissue. It goes through the tissue. Impact. Impact can cause internal damage. Once again, we must realize the man started in with us, and we're going to not get injured. Right? No one has the right to put their hands on you. And that's why I teach this. Right? We're all here to have a good time. So all we want is a good time. Because all we got is time. So no one should be able to take the time away from us. Okay, so let's get back to now the jab. The knuckles are bent, goes up and goes down, goes up and goes down, goes up and goes down, goes up and goes down. Now you see how I'm standing? That's practice. In reality, you're standing there. You're on the bus. And all of a sudden, today, A terrorist. The guy pulls out a knife, a box cutter, and he's threatening somebody, some lady. And you're 85, and you're doing the martial arts for 72 years. And boom, you move on the guy. That's where it's certainly going to be at. Even today, whatever age you are. You're not going to be like this. This is just practice. Anyone who does this doesn't know what they're doing. You know? Here, we have the right to be, this is where we want to make the mistakes, right here in this room. And in your room. But when you're on that bus, and all of a sudden something happens, and this is the type of society we live in. And it's not called paranoia, it's called awareness. It's a big difference. Just like I want to be aware. Okay, the guy has got his weight on his rear leg. Means he can throw a front kick. That's awareness. Awareness is when I'm walking down the street, I can see the guy across the street is eyeing me out, that he's going to look to try to rob me. I'll know a block away. Not because I'm psychic, because I am aware of what's going on. All right? And that's what the martial arts teach you to do. You become more aware. There's a lot of things. When you get into working on something that works between your mind and your body, you work on the whole thing. Everything becomes better. All your senses become more enhanced. That's what you work on. I think now that I'm getting older, and I'm able to think upon the things that my great instructors taught me, which I did for many years, my technique's getting better. Because I remember I was going to a school, Connecticut, and I told the guy, I told him, wear any belt you want, doesn't matter to me. He says, no, wear your black belt. Then I got on the floor that night. And the same night he asked me to come into his office. He says, listen, you got to do me a favor. You got to leave my school. I go, why? What happened? I was the nicest guy in the world. He goes, you just make me look bad. I go, what do you mean make me look bad? He goes, my students aren't going to study with me. They don't want to study with you. I said, I don't want your students. I just want a place to work out. He goes, no, please do me a favor. He asked me to leave his school because I made him look bad. That's because I had great instructors. I had guys from they studied different forms of the arts. They realized what worked, what didn't work, and then they learned. They met an incredible gentleman out on Long Island named Howard Tegg, who had this weight training program that made you move faster and enabled you to build up those parts of the muscles that can take that power. See, when we throw a technique, it's kind of like a lady whose car, the jack, fell, and the baby's or the son is caught underneath the car. And this kid's screaming. The mom runs out and lifts the car. Kid gets out. You hear about these stories where a tremendous amount of adrenaline is sent through the brain, and the people are able to lift incredible feats. What they don't tell you about is what happens to these people afterwards, how their muscles and bones and tissues get ripped. But they were able to lift that car. Well, this gentleman came up with an idea, an incredible idea, of how to work the areas that attach to the bones. Full length, full range of motions, and slow, and it helps with that awareness part because everything is done strictly, and that enhanced our ability. So there is a weight training program that I can't teach it, now, but if ever I decide to go public or become famous, I will teach it, and it makes you move faster. Gastineau did it, Cooney did it, Freeman McNeil did it, Bobby Jackson did it, a bunch of other guys too. But right now, let's get back to our weapons. Like I said, I like to talk because it's all towards the martial arts, and see how relaxed we are. That's how you want to be in a fight. Fighting is like such a terrible thing, you know what I mean? But if you're a trained martial artist, it's like walking into a dark room. You want to be scared or you want to look for the light switch? It's up to you, and that's why I teach. I love this stuff. But no one ever starts with me. I hope no one ever starts with me. But they don't. I put a sign on them, which start with me, but they don't. Probably spell it wrong. Okay, let's get our hands up. 1. That's it, Jim. Right up and down. up and down, up and down, up and down. Now, that can be this. Where you go to take his head off, you know? Not easy to catch with those two knuckles. You know, my instructor used to tell me that if you break these two knuckles on his face, there's a lot of damage being done to that guy's face. You know, I hope I never have to do it. If my life is on the line, am I wrong? You know? Every strike has to be thrown with great judgment. You know, we can tear them apart. Can't put them back together. You know, not even with crazy glue. Not even with Gorilla Glue. Maybe with duct tape, but no, we ain't putting them back together. You know, I deal with a lot of power. You know, when you catch a person, you know, I don't care how big they are. You know, they're not going to take this kind of punch. You know, I'm not going to, if I had to fight, you know, the Hulk, you know, I'm not going to punch him in the stomach. I'm going to go to break the collarbone. I'm going to go to the eye. I'm going to go to the neck. Throat's great. You know, we're going to learn to throw strikes. That was another part of it I didn't mention last night. Right in here, where you shoot it. You shoot it right into the guy's throat. Because the throat is just like the inner roll of a toilet paper. And if you hit it right, that's why last night when I said reverse punch through the throat, tough strike, you throw the strike, you change it into what's called an eagle claw. I just love the name. It doesn't mean anything. And it's like this. Here's what it is. And once again, what you try to do, and imagine this, is structure this area by these bones. So the same power you have with that reverse punch, you now have with an eagle claw to be used on something that's the inner roll of a toilet paper. What's happening? That part you're going to have to get a new one. Not like the diaphragm. You're going to crush his throat. Now, this may sound brutal. And I am a nice person. I believe in turning the other cheek. But I always read it, the other cheek meant the other guy when they started. You know, if your life is on the line, look, you know, it could be to the max. Guy's got a knife. You're blocking the knife. There's a nice block we're going to learn tonight. The nail block. You block that knife. Now, what are you going to do? You got a knife. You got a knife coming right there. What do you do? What do you do besides yell, Harry, we got a problem? You can't do that. You block it and you blast him right to the throat. This is Gonzville. Gonzville. All right? Especially when you're talking about moving from the mid. Proper balance. Just by dropping down. Remember we discussed this? Not this way, but down. You have gained so much power. You've given yourself some sort of a stance, some sort of a foundation to launch this strike. It's simple. It's really simple. You got the parts, hopefully, even if you didn't. If you didn't, we have an elbow strike. There's a couple of them. They go this way. They go this way. They go from to the back, the guy behind you. They come across this way. All right? Then there's a high-tech one that goes in, but that's another story. That's if the guy gets too close. All of these things were for distance. A foot. Distance. These are distance. We haven't even discussed that. Why would you use a leg? For distance. You know? Then there's another whole ballgame. There's a hopping kick. Okay? And then, hey, let's say you're in the fight. You're in the fight, and you see 2 blocks down. His best friend's coming. You got to deal with this guy, right? You got to deal with him. You could pay him up, and I don't think that's going to work at this point. You got to deal with him, right? So let's say you smash him with a back fist, and you hit him with a reverse punch, and you catch him with a front kick, right? Okay. Let's say you went with the back fist. He moved back. Okay. Now he's out of range. So what do you got to do? Take that step, and that's where you get into getting the legs. To the mid, through the hand, into the target. Okay? It's done real slow. So tonight, we're going to go a little deeper. We're going to get you to step and punch. Okay? Because I believe you can learn a lot, go slow, and you can absorb. Just go with the flow. Okay? If you enjoy these classes, I'm having a good time. Okay, you step, you fire. Now, what I want you to watch is this area here. This is where it's coming from. Because when I step, you know what? Let me give you a better view of the step. I want you to see the step. I want you to see the step. When I step, you step kind of like this. You see, it's, okay, let's go here. We'll catch it now. Okay. Here's the step. Notice I come in this way. Now let's say the target's here. See the step? There's a reason for that. The reason for that is you want to align these hips. You want to align them, align them to the target. So the first step here. Now, it's kind of like this. Imagine a spring. You're holding a spring and you turn it, you turn it, you turn it, you turn it, you turn it. Turn it, you turn it, you turn it, you turn it. And you let it go. It springs. Well, that's what you're doing. You're putting the body in an uncomfortable position with this kind of movement. That it wants to move like this. That it wants to launch off those hips. And it wants that arm to go flying afterwards. And it wants. And why do you take the step? Because the first time you hit him, he moved back. But you got to continue to fight because you know the first strike ain't going to end it there. I mean, you don't shoot a bear in the foot. You don't shoot a bear in the foot. You know what that means? That means you fighting a guy who's about to attack you, you don't give him a one-puncher. It ain't going to cut the deal. It's like shooting a bear in the wood. It's like shooting a bear in the foot. So I'm going to make him madder. You want to take the guy out. I'm not saying you want to kill him. But let me tell you, if you break the bridge of his nose, blast him to the solar plexus, it's going to take him a little while for him, and maybe even follow up with a shot to the groin. Boom. After the shot to the groin, he don't want to fight no more. It's just too much pain for the human brain to take. He'll go into a little bit of shock. Give it, because, his nose, he's had the wind taken, and you, which when I teach you, as we'll tell you today, ladies and gentlemen, when we throw front kicks, we go to crush the testicles. This is no pansy-mancy. We're going to hit him in the testes. When we go to throw a front kick, to those testicles, we go to crush the testicles. Okay? This class is like Braveheart. We're not going out there to play cards. Guys starting to fight, break the nose, knock out the wind, crush the testicles. Because your life is on the line. So what I teach, once again, practice slow, will take you to a speed where you do real damage if someone comes at you. And that's how you get out of it. This is where we do this when we're at the point of there's no more conversation left. It's impossible to talk. We're at surely a self-defense point. You know what I mean? There's no question about it. There's a line drawn, and the line's been passed. You have to defend yourself. That's why I teach these techniques. So when I teach, what's going to break on their body? Human tissue is not meant. Go buy a steak and smash it with a punch. Take a look at what it looks like. Human tissue is not made to take these kind of strikes. In the ring, with a glove, 10 ounce, 8 ounce, whatever the ounce, they take some of the impact. Plus, they're not really going to kill the guy, or take his eye out, or crush his throat. Nice strike. Tight. Beautiful. Beautiful. Brings cockles to my heart. Gloves are not out to hurt each other. They're out to score points. The knockout, and when the fight's over, they go to the rings. Fight's over with me. I might stomp them. We haven't gotten to that part of the story yet. We're guys, But it has to be at a point where your life is on the line. It can't be just someone bumps into you. Hey, no big deal. But when a guy's got his hand or grabs you, wants to hurt you, if he's grabbed you already, you should hit him. But you don't know how to yet. So here I am, ready to teach. Okay, let's get into a little more movement. Let's talk. But these are, you know, these are important things to talk about, because what we're talking about is movement, you know, and it's all geared towards that headset of what to think about when you're in a fight. I mean, what do you think about? It's not like going out swimming at the beach, man. You know, you're there with the family, you go out, you go for a swim, you know, you come back, you lay down, you wipe, you know, you put on the radio, you may have a cooler and whatever you want. Here you're put in a situation where some yank wants to take your head off, or your wallet, or hurt your wife, or your child, or a deranged individual. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Call a cop? Great. He's there. No one's around but you. And you got to protect your family. Not to get behind you. And you stick to your guns. But you don't got any guns yet. So you watch these classes. I guarantee when a year of these classes, you won't be able to be touched on the street. Anybody want to place a little bet on that? I'm ready. Okay. Now let's get back into training. I like having fun. That's what you got to think about when you fight. Let him be nuts. Let him curse. Let him scream. Just sit there and move, and move, and move, and move. Let the brain do its job. Easy. Kid stuff. Watch learn how to do it. That takes time. It's good practice and good talk. And, you know, remember I showed last night? And I was even proud I was able to do it. Just kidding. Yeah, look. Notice the knot in the belt. All right? Notice the knot does not move. But I'm twisting my whole upper body. I'm not just moving my arms. I'm twisting my, look at the patch. And look at the knot. The knot is not moving. That's called separation. That's something you should practice. Because that will lead into which will enable you eventually to send more power into your weapons. But obviously, my friends, we must learn the weapons. And we will, right now. The jab. Up and back. Up and back. Remember, we don't lock it out. We don't want to hurt. You don't have to. 9/10. Everything's controlled. That's why you go slow. See where 9/10 is. Make sure the knuckles are in a proper position and come back to you. Come on. Do this stuff. Everyone wants to be like Bruce Lee. Okay? Gear into the street, which he was. Okay, up and back, 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 up. Okay, now let's make believe he's a little taller. Let's do a little jab, a little higher. Bring it up. I'm gonna go up. Up. I tell you, if he's that tall, better off making friends with him. Up, 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 up. So that you get to the point that you can point that jab any single place you want to point it. That's it, because it's your jab. That's what starts. But it starts here. Up and back. All it really is this. Look, it goes up and back. And the most important thing is keeping that elbow down, because that's what keeps the power. Here's how it works. This movement is the back of the arm, the triceps. This movement is the chest muscle. A combination of these two movements is the firing of the punch. The hand part, proper positioning of the knuckles, that's your forearms. Now, the rechamber, the bringing back of the punch, that's the biceps. Now, the chest throws it out there. But you know what? What stops that arm from getting dislocated? The back muscles. So you see, the martial arts works every part of your body. It's really cool. Plus, you learn how to defend yourself. Okay. Got to bear with me with the cameras. We are getting some better equipment, so these will be coming off a lot clearer. Okay, so from here. Let's try the other side. 1, 2. 1, 2. See that? And throughout the positioning, the elbow is down. Okay. Now we're going to play a little game. Okay? Where all I want you to do is you're going to drop down and fire a punch. Like this. We're all going to go slow. Done fast. When I practice, I'll do this. Okay. Just practice. That's all it is. But I want us to do it tonight like this. Because we have to learn not to mutilate movement. And a slight movement to the elbow, we lose power. And in battle, you want maximum power. And to get maximum power, you have to have proper alignment of the muscles at the right and the bones at the right position. And then we're going to talk about balance tonight, because balance is a great subject. Like I said, this class ain't to lose weight. This class ain't an aerobics class. I'm not, of course, putting on this class. They're very important. This class is to teach you how to save your ass. Nice little rhyme. I mean it. You're on the street, someone starts with you. What do? It'd be great if there's a cop. I wish there was a cop on every corner. And I hope I never have a fight. And I haven't had a fight. Well, I had almost a long time. What can I say? One guy started with it. I won. But I caught a couple of good shots. You got to know how to defend yourself. It's important. It's like swimming. Like I discussed. Swimming's fun. You fall off the boat. It's no fun. Survival. Like this is survival all the time. It's unfortunate we live in these kind of times, but as I discussed, the jerks behind the head, someone starting you, someone wants an iPod, someone wants this. I would let them take it than fight, because I'm more afraid of hurting somebody. Maybe not. We all have our point of no return. But it's nice to know how to defend yourself. And I will be showing moves. Like I show you how to hit really hard. Sometimes I don't think that hard. You could just hit a guy to the solar plexus. Believe me, he's going down. He's going down. And it's over. It's over. That's why, like I said, I teach overkill. But let's get into our movements now. Because I got another block I want to go over, and then I want to talk a little bit more about stance. And then we're going to talk about balance. Balance. It's important, what balance is all about. And what it really means, I'll tell you real quick, it's moving from point to point, and at any point you have a weapon. That's balance in the martial arts. Very simple. All right? In other words, you have weight over one point to throw a leg weapon or whatever. If you don't want to throw a leg weapon, you still want to be on balance because your technique will come out more fluid and there'll be instruction form, and it's very simple. All it is bending the legs. But let's get back to that for a second. That quick draw McGraw. You make believe you're a gunslinger. That's what I'm doing. I'm making believe I'm a gunslinger. But I'm not pulling out a gun. I'm throwing my hands. So in actuality, in slow motion, it's this. Boom. 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 And it's coming straight out. Boom. And back. Boom. 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 Elbow down. Elbow down. Okay, let's get into a stance and have the front hand. Practice it here. Practice it there. Practice it. You see, I'm sorry. This camera's a little zingy-dingy. Let me fix this. Come out a little better. Bear with me on these, ladies and gentlemen. I will make this better as time goes on. And you know what? 5 years from now, when we're still doing this, it'll be even better. I'll have a hologram doing it. I'll be home. Okay. See my legs? They're 70% of the weight is here. 30% of the weight is here. Leg is slightly bent, so you don't see your toes. That's how you know, right? And believe me, to stay in these stances for any length of time works those muscles, and you will feel it. So ease up. But that's how you know. When you look down and you cannot see your toes, you know this front leg is bent and structured for a strike. This is the foundation. Okay? But in a real fight, you see, it's a really interesting thing. You learn about structure. right? From your stances. And then when you're in a real fight moving, you're in structure because you've learned how to channel what's called energy. It's hard to understand. It's hard to understand what that is in the beginning. But as you move and you practice, you'll understand what that is. What that is. You know what I'm saying? Like right here, I know I'm strong. You know what I'm saying? But I can be in a moving position and still feel strong because I learned how to be strong in any position, in a position. And it's tough to follow right now, at this level. This is class 3. But you will understand what I'm talking about as time goes on. Just remember I said something real crazy. Or maybe not. Maybe you do understand what I'm saying. But you got to learn what strength is. It's like give it someone who never tasted chocolate. Guy never tasted chocolate. You ask him, what does chocolate taste like? What's he going to say to you? You know what I'm saying? That's what some of this stuff is. So I don't want to make it to seem like I'm sounding hokey pokey. Like one of my instructors used to say, it's not magical, it's mystical. In other words, it can be studied. And that's what this is all about. Had a comment from a great person out there, my buddy Randy. She said she likes the passion of my teaching. So you know what? From now on, I'm going to get more passionate. Okay. Hope you enjoy it. By the way, when I started this, I'm not a tough guy. Came out of yeshiva, knew how to do a little boxing. My father handed me over to my instructor and said, hey, make a man out of him. Well, he did a damn good job. Both of them did. Okay, so we got from here. We got one hand going up, going up, going up. Jab, jab, reverse punch, jab, reverse punch. Now, all of a sudden, this guy throws. He went first. Wow, this guy's pretty good. Down block. Back fist. Reverse punch. Rear leg snapping kick. Now let's get back to that snapping kick. That snapping kick's got 4 movements. 1 is picking it up. 2 is picking it up and the knee trails the knee. As tight as you pick it up. Get down to the lower section. Now, this ain't the Ed Sullivan show. So, like Elvis, we will show the lower half of the body. Okay, here we go. Comes up. See the foot's trailing the little knee? Can you catch that? See that? It's back there. It's back there. As tight as you can get it, the better off. And that is 1. Goes out. Now we lock it out. If we're doing a calibration, back, down. That's how you would do it slow. Like I say, do this slow. This is how you do this slow. But doing this slow is very important. It does a couple of things. It's called a calibration. And you're going to learn about a calibration for every single kick. We do calibrations. Calibrations is a kick done slow. So the mind learns how to throw the kick. But just as important, when you do these calibrations, and I recommend anybody who has a knee injury to hold on to a wall. You go like this, put your hand there, extend it. It doesn't matter how high you have it. I wish I could show you this better, and I will. I'll figure this camera out. Bear with me. It's worth the wait. You don't have to climb the mountain. You know what I'm saying? See, you can go low. You can go real low. You don't have to go high. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go high. You can go any height. Okay? Eventually, when you get good, short time at all when you got a guy like me teaching you. When you get good, this becomes the scope, which means it aims to where the kick is going to go. So if you're going to, when you take a front kick, you're going to learn there's a ball of the foot strike. It's the very front underneath the toe. And the foot is bent down and it curls, the toes curl back. Just follow me for now. I don't want you, we're going to go over this later on, but just follow this. So you could throw a front kick. I've been teaching you where you hit with the top part of the foot, which is called an instep strike. Basically, you take you take your foot and point it all the way as far down as you can go. It's pointed all the way as far down to go, and even the toes go as far down, and you're hitting with that top part of your foot. That is called an instep strike. That is a strike that goes only to the groin in this system. There is one other kick, but it's more advanced. It's where you're in the middle of a fight, and you happen to grab his arm, and you do that same kick underneath the armpit, but I don't do it. And you just destroy all the nerves to the armpit. But we will discuss it, because there are people that are bigger than me out there. So if you're bigger and taller than me, these techniques can be used by you. There is one where you go with a front kick as high as you want, and you go into the armpit. Like if a guy had a knife in his hand, imagine that. All right, like I said, imagination. Guy throws. Sometimes listen, you may miss a block. He's got a knife, so I grabbed his hand. I was lucky, right? And now, what do you do? What do you do? Okay, a couple of things you can do. Come across, hammer fist. Okay, or you can go with the ball of the foot strike, which I will bring down here to show you, kind of at an angle. It's tough to show without a partner, but you'll have to use your imagination. There's a man's leg right there, and bam, right into the ankle. I love that, because you're looking right at him. He's never gonna expect that to come across, right? Same thing, come across. Now, here, watch. Here it is. You see it? Can you notice that my leg is out a little bit, so that if I go out, nothing is blocking it? You don't want it behind your other leg. You want it out a little bit. But you also want to be able to stay. You also want to be able to not see your toes. Just barely not see your toes. Then you know you're at the correct height. And then a perfect kick. Perfect stance is when you throw the weapon, you imagine there's a shelf above. This is getting tough about a minute. There's a shelf above your head. You imagine there's a shelf above your head, right? And you got all the weight on this leg. There's a shelf above your head, and there's a knife here. And you throw the kick, and nothing moves. And you don't go back at all. That's a perfect kick. I'm not saying I threw a perfect kick, but that would be a perfect kick. Now, we strive to throw perfect weapons in battle. It's not easy. It's a lot to it, as you can see. So we study, and it gives you something to practice, and think about and ponder, and right now we're going to get back to working on another block. So remember that down block. It's a hammer fist, right? We're going to get to a block. Before the block, we got a special one for you. Tonight's special one is, remember we had that spear hand? Remember? Instead of throwing a punch, we throw a spear hand into the eye. No more eye. Fight's over. Okay? It's a case closed deal on that one. That's got, that's a serious issue because you're taking a guy's eye out. Tonight, we're going to go over something with a hammer fist. And I remember my instructor being on a TV show, and they asked him, what kind of woman, what one technique could a woman do that she'd be able to stop someone right away? And my instructor said she would have to slam his head this way and hit him with a hammer fist at the same time. And what that does, see, this area of the head is the temporal area, and it's deadly. It's very easy to do damage to this area. The bone is not that thick, but it's kind of a strike. But this is a brain injury area. If you are to take the other hand and at the same time hit him this way, it would cause the person probably to get severely, at least knocked out, possible brain damage, to possible death, depending on the power. Remember what we're talking about. Side of the hand. And you will learn how to throw a technique like this way. It's the same thing. It's just movement. And that technique is pretty vicious, But hey, guys choke, someone's choking you. Everyone who gets choked, they try to pull the hands off. What's that all about? You got fingertips. Put them in his eyes. Here's a great one for you. Take your thumb. The thumb. Let's say the guy's right on top of you. He's choking you. If he's choking you, he's got to be within hand's range. You take your thumbs, you put them on his eyes, extend them. Believe me, you put that thumb on his eye and you lock your arm out, you don't even have to be a tough guy. Anybody, a child can do it. Put the thumb on the guy's eye and extend it. He's going to scream like an animal. You're putting the thumb in his eye and you're putting all your weight behind it. Then imagine this. I once had Bobby Green used to go, he would go, bam, one finger. He used to outfight you with one finger. And he was right. He was right. When you got speed and power and a good stance behind it, you know how to move. That one finger, do a lot of damage. One finger. Right? Think you'll get the point? Okay. So let's work on another block tonight. This kind of a block. It's an in-out block. Goes this way and across. See my body's here, right? And the guy's coming with a strike this way, and I go this way. A little lower, I would go with the down block. It's not coming that way. It's coming this way. So I'm going to go this way. You see the attack? You come this way to here. Let's say your hand was down. You bring it across. That's where you're going to get your power from. Bring it across and then shoot them in. Into his arm. You may have to come up quicker and just shoot this way. But at least you stop that weapon. It's down in this direction as opposed to down in this. I plan on hiring a turtle to move this. This turtle, it's smart. He says he knows how to work a camera. Okay. One block. This way. This way. Now you might have to block. Let's get a little closer. The head. See the head? See the head? Guy's throwing a hook punch. Guy's throwing a punch like this. Right? It's coming this way, around, rather than straight. So now you're not going this way, but you're coming this way. So you're coming this way, coming this way, coming this way, coming this way. Okay, let's try this. Coming this way, coming this way. We got a soundtrack tonight. I want to see how it works out. You know what I mean? A little classical music to get the mood. I mean, you really should feel relaxed all the time when you do this, even in battle. I knew some karate guys out in Long Island. These guys were pretty intense. That they used to recite nursery rhymes when they used to free fight to relax themselves. You should be relaxed. You know why? Because you know what you're doing. Okay. Well, you go this way. And down. And down. Now let's put it together. Okay. Okay. We got a block. We'll throw a back fist. Reverse punch. Front snap kick. I got a problem, I noticed. I keep doing it. I did it on the first two movies, and I'm doing it now. See this hand? You can learn from my mistakes. See, we can all learn. I keep dropping that hand. Well, I'm not really in a fight right now, so, I'm not thinking about that. But that's a mistake. That's a big mistake. So if you've seen me, and you'll notice it, if you're looking at these things, every time I'm throwing that kick, I'm dropping that hand. I really should be pulling it straight back. And I'm going to work on that. Okay, so here we go. Boom. Boom. Boom, boom. Okay? Foot is down. You're hitting with the very top of the foot. The instep. The top of the foot. It's bent down. Now that structures that. And then this sends it out. And it brings it back. You always rechamber a kick, which means, in other words, there's rechambering with the hands. Rechambering means bringing it back to position. Because eventually, one day, you're going to learn double jabs. That's a beauty. They never expect that one. Everyone fights one, two, like that. But put two jabs in there, they don't expect that. Ali was good with that. Oh, yeah, God bless him. He had a black belt. He had a black belt by a guy named Dennis Dillon. And they never taught him how to use his legs because they didn't want him to throw a kick through the subconscious. That's why when you watch Ali, he's moving. He's moving. He's moving, That's why they weren't ready for his speed. It was the martial arts. They didn't teach him to use his legs because they didn't want to throw kicks subconsciously. You know what he once said? He said if he was in the street and some guy started with him, he'd run. He said the guy must be tough. Well, it's a good man. Okay, so here we go. Let's get into a little bit of a stance. Okay. Well, we're going to give you 3 more minutes because I love you. Okay. We're in a stance, right? Hands are up. Well, let's. In fact, we're not in a stance. We're going to go into a stance. We drop down. We fire. Boom, boom. Fight's already happening. Guy's coming. He's got a piece of wood in his hand. He's not coming over to go knock, knock. And he ain't delivering the wood as the mailman. And he's not working on your house or carpet. He's coming to hit you in the head. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to block his hand. We're going to, off the block, we're going to throw a strike. We're going to throw a block from right off the block. As soon as we block, we're going to throw this to there. It'll have power. Believe me, it'll bounce off that arm and take him in the face. Okay? To the face. Because let me tell you something. He's got all his buddies back here waiting to be launched. Because he's right here. I hit the wood, right? You get me? I hit the wood. I hit the arm. Excuse me. I'm hitting here his arm. I know. Imagination. I hit the arm. Okay? I stop the arm. In a split second, I go from the arm to his face. Believe me, he ain't ready for it. That might knock him out. If he's still there, you know, I hope he is. Just joking. But I do hope he is. I would come in with a reverse punch. And from there, this. Now, it gets a little crazy sometimes. Let's say you hit him with the arm. Then the face. He moves back a little bit. And you just catch him with the solar plexus strike. But for some reason, instead of him bending over, he moved back. But you could tell by the look in his face that he ain't out of it yet. So you might have to do what's called a hopping kick. Very simple. Follow me? Got to make up some distance. Okay? It's real easy. And you hop. Right? You hop and you kick. I'm going to try to do it slow. I don't know how you do this slow. At least I've forgotten how to do it slow. On either side, it doesn't matter. You hop and you kick. It's to make up distance. So you can get a little, it gets funny sometimes, it gets funky. And that's just the front kick. We haven't gotten into the front thrust. And then there's side kicks to all different areas. And then there's back kicks to all 3 major areas. And then there's a crescent kick. It's a kick that comes from here across the body. Now, most karate schools, just to show you the difference, because we discussed movement of the hip, they throw it like this. We get it on the knee. Notice the difference in speed. This is the hip. The incorrect way to throw this kick. This is the hip and the knee. See the difference? See the difference? See the difference? The other one is like stretching, which I don't even do. Beyond that. Okay? It's a crescent. When would you use a crescent? Sick guy comes at you with a knife. Crescent knocks him. The knife out of the way. You get right on top of him. Do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. And that's it for tonight's class. Have a great night. Make a great day. I'll see you very shortly. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the class.